Hey, it's Steven here from Marketplace Superheroes, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 surprising reasons people fail with an Amazon FBA business. So today we're going to jump right in and we're going to talk about these 5 different things. The first one is people overanalyze when it comes to starting their Amazon business. And what does overanalyzation look like? Well, it looks like this. You go through a program, if it's ours or somebody else's, you learn a product research process, and then what happens? You start finding product ideas. Great. Then what happens? You start finding suppliers for your products. Excellent. But then what happens? You get your pricing back, you know that you should pull the trigger on a product, but perfectionism and overanalyzing stops you from pulling the trigger. And the reason for that is that it's human nature. People try to avoid failure more than they do step into success. So it makes sense if you've never done this before, when you're looking at that product, you're gonna start thinking to yourself, well, when I put money into this thing, I'm going to lose that money, or I could lose that money. And the truth behind that is that there's no such thing really as just losing money by putting it into a product. Sure enough, if you research incorrectly, you bring in the wrong product, yeah, that could be a possibility, but you're not doing that. You're going through a very specific product research strategy, and you're finding products that you know are in demand, you know the competition is low, and you know you've got a great chance of succeeding. Therefore, what's the mindset you have to have? Well, it's very simple. What you got to start looking at doing is thinking to yourself this. Number 1, I'm doing my research correctly. Therefore, the product is right. 2, I've got my pricing back from my supplier. I'm making profit. And then 3, even if this doesn't go the way you want it to go, it's not perfect. It doesn't matter. As long as it's in stock and it's selling, you're doing more than most people will ever do. And secondly, even if it doesn't work, you can just put it out at cost on other sites like eBay, even Amazon themselves put it out at cost, and you can just blow it out. I did this on my first product when it didn't work for me because I picked the wrong product. So I don't want you to be terrified of pulling the trigger anymore. Know that pulling the trigger is key. You, as my business partner Robert will often say, you can set fire to your first product because all it's doing is it's enabling you to get used to pulling the trigger. Now, of course, that's not what we're going to do here, but I want you to know over perfectionism is killing you. So pull the trigger when everything lines up. You got to do it. The second one is a one product obsession. Have you got a one product obsession? Well, let's just see. Let's say you find a product, it looks good, you've done the research like we talked about in step number 1. Everything lines up, and then you get to the supplier stage, you get your pricing back, and what happens? The numbers don't work. It looks terrible. As a matter of fact, it looks awful. But what do? You say, I'm gonna find another supplier because I know this product is the one. And you become obsessed with this one item. Precious! You keep trying to find more and more suppliers who are going to give you back different pricing. You lean into it more and more and more. You keep getting back bad pricing and you keep saying to yourself, no, I know this is the one. This is what I've got to do. This is like my destiny or something weird like that. And so basically you become obsessed and obsessed and obsessed and you get nothing else done. This business, you have to, what we call, kill your darlings, right? And what that means in simple English is if something doesn't work, it's got to go. You cannot be in a situation where you become so obsessed that you just disregard every other product opportunity out there. The reality is there are millions of different products that you can be selling on Amazon. And if you don't believe me, you got to jump through our program and check out the product research strategy because in one day you can find multiple ideas. So do not become obsessed with one product. It's going to hold you back. It's going to stop you from becoming successful. And that is something that we just can't allow to happen. So if something doesn't work, it's got to go. And if it does work, well, that's great. Now you know you have something you can take to the next place. And remember something else. Not one business the world over has been built successfully with just one product. It doesn't happen. You're going to build your Amazon business with multiple products. Remember the strategy, the rule of 5. 5 products in 5 countries, selling 5 units a day per product per country, making an average of $5 net profit. So we're not saying 1 product per day, we're saying 5. Why? Because multiplication of products is key, multiplication of markets is key, and having a one product obsession is not going to enable you to have these multiple products in your business, because if you become obsessed by one, you'll become obsessed by another. So do not obsess, Move on if it doesn't work. The third reason people fail on Amazon is they try to find shortcuts all the time. Now, we all know about bright, shiny objects. It is the bane of modern society. We know we have the Instagram influencers who are trying to take our attention. We have Netflix trying to take our attention. We have a million different advertisements every day trying to take our attention. And what you got to understand in this business is you cannot be in a situation where you're looking for shortcuts all the time. It's just not something you can do. I've done it in my own personal life. I was trying to find shortcuts all the time to become successful. And on Amazon, look, there are certain times you can shortcut certain pieces of the process, but pretty much all the important things like product research, etc., you cannot just shortcut them. The one big issue I see out there all the time is people are like using software tools to tell them what products they should be selling. They then take those products and they say to themselves, oh, this tool just told me I should be selling all these different things. And what happens then? They get involved in overly competitive markets because everybody else is doing the same thing. Most people are looking for the tools, and you know the ones I'm talking about out there in the Amazon space. I'm not saying they're evil or anything, but what I am saying, it's a little bit like these, top 100 products that you see out there, and they tell you 100 items you should be selling. But the reality is, if you choose any of those 100 items, you know you're going to be in a situation where everybody else pretty much is doing that, who is, a little bit lazy. They're looking at those lists and they're saying, oh, such and such told me I should sell this, so I am going to sell that product. I'm here to tell you that is insane. If you are going to let somebody else tell you these are the products you should be selling, I've got news for you. You should be running a news agent, or whatever you call it in the US. We call it a news agent here, where you sell candy bars and newspapers and all that. Because that's what you do in something like that. You're like buying a job for yourself. On Amazon, you cannot be taking shortcuts when it comes to choosing the right products to sell. So what's the antidote to this? It's simple. Stop using all the tools that are like just telling you what you should be selling, and actually go onto Amazon, look through initially the top 100 in a category, see what's working, click into those items, look at items related to those products, and in there, you're going to start to find the products that are not as competitive, they got poor listings, and these are the ones we want to be looking at. We don't want to be looking at top 100s all the time. Maybe we might find an opportunity in the top 100 that looks good and we can do, and the competition stacks up, the pricing stacks up, but the chances of that nowadays are quite low. So instead of that, we want to, what we call, segue off of those products and find more opportunities that are going to be fantastic to build a rule of 5 style business. And that doesn't involve shortcuts. It involves getting onto Amazon, looking at products in the top 100 initially, jumping off of those products into the listings, going down, looking at the related products, and then clicking through those and seeing what does the competition look like. If I search the generic keyword like plastic shoebox or carboy carrier, how many results am I getting on Amazon? Are there over 10,000? If so, don't do it. Are there less than 10,000, less than 2,000, less than 600? Okay, now I have something that looks good, and that doesn't involve shortcuts. So please do not take shortcuts anymore. It's going to hold you back. The fourth reason that people fail on Amazon is this: they procrastinate. They waste time. How many times have you come home in the evening after work and you know you should open up your computer, you should do some product research for your Amazon business? If you're just starting out and you've no products, you gotta research. You have to find products in order to be able to get your business up and off the ground. But the problem is this: people procrastinate. And why is that? Well, it goes back to what we talked about earlier on. A lot of times we're trying to avoid failure rather than embracing success with this business. So what you've got to do is simple. You've got to create a system, a daily system that you can rely on. Let me give you an example. We talked about me in the gym and all of that. Well, in the morning time, if my gym gear is not ready to go, I'm not going to go to the gym. Why? Because it's human nature to be lazy. I'm going to have to go get the gear. I'm going to have to put it into my bag, get in my car, go to the gym. Whereas when that's already packed and ready to go, and I just have to lift my bag, get in the car, go to the gym, work with the trainer or on your own, whatever the case may be, now you get it done. It's a system. So for you, here's what I want you to start thinking about. When you come home from work, or before work is even better as a matter of fact, create a 45-minute period of time I want you to put it into Google Calendar. It looks like this. Go to Google, go to your calendar, click a little period of time, 45 minutes, book it in, product research. Now you know without a shadow of a doubt that's going to happen at that period of time. Let other people know it's happening at that time. Now, on the other side, when you find products, you're working with suppliers, it's easy to procrastinate there too. Going back to what we talked about in number one today, the number one reason people fail. People overanalyze when it comes to starting their Amazon business. Because you might be in a situation where you find the product that looks good and you procrastinate with the supplier because what? You're afraid of pulling the trigger. All of these different points of failure are interconnected, and this is no different. So create a system that you know is going to work. Another great thing you can do to avoid procrastination is get into an environment of people who are motivated, who want to do this. And we've got tons of environments like that we can help you with, but that's just one way of doing it. Even locally, get people around you who are doing this business, who are moving forward, or different businesses, a mastermind. Talk about what's happening. I'm procrastinating because of this. Then get other people to support you. You must get support. If you're on your own, simplest way to fail and continue to procrastinate. So systems, support, and that's how you're going to get beyond that. Fifth reason that people fail on Amazon, maybe it's not so surprising, they get involved in overly competitive products. Why does this happen? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, we talked about the hot list earlier on, right, which we're now crossing out. But let's say you do go to a hot list and you're thinking, I'm going to just pick a product, I'm going to get it selling, it's all good, I'm going to make money, other people are selling it, so it must make money. Trouble with that approach is a lot of people are doing the same thing, right? So if you start selling this overly competitive item, you're going to experience a lot of competition. We all know the products that I'm talking about, the silicone barbecue gloves, the spatula sets, right? These are all things that have been done time and time again, even down to the garlic press, the very famous example, right? These products are just too competitive now because at one point they were an open playing field. And sure enough, like every single day, there are thousands of garlic presses sold on Amazon. There are thousands of these spatula sets. They're all selling every single day. But what's the problem? They're not good opportunities for you. Remember our strategy we talked about earlier on, the rule of 5. We're looking for 5 products and more as we go on to make a small number of sales in multiple markets. Now, even if you don't have the multiple markets available, you still are going to want to be in a situation where you've got multiple items making a small number of sales in one market even. So let's say you're in the US, you got 10 items making 3 sales per day. All of a sudden, like there's 30 sales per day, right? So it's actually going to accumulate in your business. Whereas to make 30 sales per day of one product, that's a much more competitive thing to do. It's not something you want to do. So I see it all the time. I want you to avoid it. It's a massive reason why people fail. What they actually do is they see a product that is what we would call a Marketplace Superheroes approved product. The listing's poor. There's not that much competition. The number of generic searches for that keyword is lower. Sorry, the results are lower. The searches can be good, but the search results are lower. So it's all kind of looking good. Yeah, let's do it. But what happens then? Fear strikes, right? And what they do instead is they pick a more competitive product. Why? Because it comes back to what we said a million times in this video. A lot of times people want to avoid failure. And one way to avoid failure is buy something that you know is selling a lot every day. But it's a really, really bad strategy because you're doing what everybody else is doing. You gotta think differently. You gotta act differently. You gotta be selling products that are not as competitive. And it makes so much sense. Like, you know it makes sense. So you've got to embrace the strategy. You gotta do it. And that is how you avoid failure when starting an Amazon business. Hope you enjoyed this video today. We moved fast, we covered a lot of ground, and as always, would you please like this video, comment on the video, let me know what you learned today, let me know if you have any questions, and of course, as we always ask you to do, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel if you do those different things, because you tell the YouTube gods that you like this video, you like this content, you want more of this content, and in those comments, remember, you can ask me to make videos about anything on the topic of Amazon. We've had a lot of people ask me for videos in the comments on previous videos, and that's helped me to make more content that you really want. So please like, please comment, please subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Now, before I let you go as well, I want to give you something for free, as we always do. There is free training to be had. All you got to do is go down, click on the description, or it's in the pinned comment down below. Click on the link. It's going to take you back to our website, and we'll give you some free training to help you get your Amazon business up and running the right way, the marketplace superheroes way. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one.